How's that? Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear, sir.
Alright. Yeah, we need to find a better system for that, huh?
Welcome to the show, everybody.
Hey,
Yeah,
welcome. All right, go, Will.
Alright, I'm on it. Sorry, I had to switch between a couple windows here just to make that magic happen. So, welcome everyone back to Bitcoin and Altcoin Trading Talk. This is episode 5. I'm quite amazed we've made it this far. Round of applause for everybody.
Yeah.
Once again,
thank you.
Once again, we have Rob Borden and myself, William Keel from Coinigy.com, professional tools for cryptocurrency traders. And then we have Brian Beamish and Julian from the Rational Investors. How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing great.
Very good, thank you, sir.
Very excited.
Well, we've got a great show. What was that, Julian?
Julian's
Very excited. Pumped.
Yeah, Julian, I can tell you're jumping out of your seat there. So we've got a great show for everybody tonight. Pretty excited here. So I guess first things first, what we're going to do is jump into the news. We're going to then go through a couple of Coinigy platform updates. We're going to review the Altcoin 5, and thanks to everybody for requesting the altcoins for us to review here. We're going to do a little bit of fundamentals and mostly technical analysis on these coins. And then we're also going to be doing a giveaway. So all of you viewers that retweeted us on Twitter, we're giving away some Coinigy 8GB USB drive. So we're going to do that at the end, and thank you for tuning in. So I guess, Julian, how are things over in Newsland?
They're pretty exciting. Just so everyone knows, tonight I'm temporarily taking over for JC. He couldn't, Crypto Elite, he couldn't make it tonight. So I'm your stand-in news guy. We've got a lot going on, but before I get into it, Will, I think we're also going to maybe touch, I think, Brian, you might touch on BTC. I mean, we've seen a lot happen in the past couple of days with Bitcoin.
Yeah, I would love to
touch on and do a little TA for 5 minutes on some Bitcoin.
Yeah, it sounds like a good idea. Yep, got a nice setup that fired this past weekend. I guess
all right.
Just yesterday.
All right, so then without further ado, I guess we'll jump into what's going on in the world of Bitcoin news. So first thing I thought I'd do, I'm thinking about, my girlfriend really wants to go see Jurassic World. We're thinking about going this weekend, and I saw that movietickets.com now accepts Bitcoin. So I didn't even actually believe it. I went to the site here, and we're going to jump through and see if I can really buy a ticket with Bitcoin. So let's go to Showtimes, and we're going to go to my search range here.
Julian, I can't see your screen for some reason. I don't know if it's
share your screen.
You guys can't see it?
Nope, I just see black.
Nope.
I'm
Once again, going off without a hitch.
All right, let me share my entire screen then. Okay, can everyone see now?
Not yet. I just see the Rational Investor logo.
It's a great plug for our site.
Yeah.
You can't see me buying my Jurassic World tickets?
I cannot.
Oh, I can see.
I just see it. I see a pulsating TRI logo when you talk.
Okay. Stop.
Well, maybe let's just audioly go through the stories.
Yeah, it
It
looks
looks
like Rob has it
like
up on
Rob's
his
got
screen.
the movie tickets page
Can
up.
anyone? Can you see now?
No, we've got a Rob up
So,
now, though.
Julian, you're having your crash course in on-air broadcasting.
Yeah,
So
well,
let's keep
welcome
the
to the
pace
club,
going,
Julian.
right?
Okay. I don't
Rob's
know
got
why
the
this isn't.
screen up there from movie.com. So you're going to buy some tickets to buy some to watch some movies with Bitcoin. Is that what you're telling me?
I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
I'm checking it out. I'm definitely interested. Trying
Rob,
to
you
find a
gotta
movie
go see
theater here.
Jurassic World.
Great job! Wow. And I had sort of tweeted earlier today. I kind of thought that this is just yet another domino that's falling, right? And it's almost like a tsunami. Day after day after day, we got new stuff that just keeps coming on, eh?
Yeah, now that you mentioned that, also, my wife was just watching, it's a show called Million Dollar Listing. I think it's on Bravo. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. It's a bunch of kind of elitist, high-priced real estate brokers running around the city, but they were trying to attract younger clientele to this new apartment that they were showing, and one of the guys came up and said, "Do you accept Bitcoin for payment?" Which was pretty interesting, just kind of having that thrown in there.
Do you see
And he
Bitcoin?
says,
The
"No,
public
but I
at large is
accept
being assimilated
Litecoin."
slowly.
I do not
Rob,
see Bitcoin in the list for Jurassic
Oh,
World, so it could
no,
just be the one movie.
no, hold on. I think I saw it.
All right. Well, we don't need to be researching this while we got the show on. What's our next news story that we're going to talk about tonight, Julian?
I'm pulling up Bitcoin. Maybe everyone in the audience can go check out movieticket.com and see if it works for you guys. But in the meantime, let's jump into the next article. I saw it real quick, so I don't know if anyone else in crypto land was a supporter of Ron Paul. His son is now running. I just saw, I mean, this came out back in April, but I just saw it today, that he accepts Bitcoin for his presidential campaign. So
oh, did we
Right.
lose
I
Julian?
thought that was pretty neat.
Oh,
And now, segging into another transaction or type of thing, let's go with this MasterCard article that I came across talking about how MasterCard is, they kind of came out and said, we're not only ignorant about how Bitcoin works, but we're also afraid of it. And they didn't directly say that, but in a roundabout way they said, so this is a direct quote.
yeah,
MasterCard
this is
said
pretty
that.
interesting because weren't they kind of wasn't one of their main things the fact that they're criticizing, the time to actually, for the transaction to settle?
Yeah,
And
Yeah, so
then
they were saying
MasterCard itself, as it turns out, actually really takes, 2 to 3 days to settle, something like that.
right.
yeah, to truly settle.
Yeah,
Like Bitcoin only
they
takes
mentioned
an
that
hour.
they mentioned that their transactions only take a few seconds basically, whereas it takes, 10 minutes or longer for Bitcoin. But they don't mention that that transaction isn't completely settled all the way through all the banks and intermediaries yet in that short amount of time. And it actually would take, a few days for the same amount of, things to occur as it does in Bitcoin in an hour.
Right, and that's basically the point of Bitcoin, peer to peer. There you go. It's from point A to point B. Bypass all these interchanges and international switchboards, whatever it goes through. So it should be interesting to see. But speaking of banks, I think the third article we're going to look at is about BitPay. Is that right?
Yes,
Yeah.
about BitPay. So Rob, you can jump over to that. So it looks like BitPay, before it was pushing to be accepted by a couple different payment or companies, like I think Overstock.com uses it, and
Sure.
Microsoft,
Coinigy
PayPal,
uses it.
Virgin Galactic, Coinigy uses it, the Rational Investor uses it. It looks like BitPay is now starting to talk to some leading banks, such as UBS, Santander, and a few others are saying that they're expressing their interest in not only the Bitcoin, but also, I think more importantly, the technology behind it, the blockchain. So it looks like they're hoping to improve their back-end process by using the underlying Bitcoin technology to become cheaper, faster, and more reliable. So I mean, me personally, I think that's where Bitcoin might be going. I think it's going to provide I don't know if we're going to have Bitcoin forever. I hope we do, but I see it providing a catalyst to change the whole industry using the blockchain technology. That's
right. Yeah, I'm in the same boat basically. It's the technology behind Bitcoin is really the game changer, not necessarily the storage of value. And you know, I know quite a few banks are actually kind of catching wind of this, and it will be interesting to see. I mean, I know Stellar also was kind of working on doing an international remittance engine, basically for institutions and whatnot. Quite a few. Ripple is kind of getting into that game as well. So pretty interesting stuff. This next year is going to get pretty fun.
Yeah, I think a lot's going to change. I mean, between Tesla and electric cars and Bitcoin, it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, and if you get a 21 ink chip in your Tesla, you can mine Bitcoin while you drive. And just drain the heck out of your battery. I'm just kidding. I'm really curious to see. There haven't really been any, as far as I'm concerned, any new developments in regards to 21. But I'm really curious to hear, what they're gonna. You guys are familiar with what I'm talking about, right? 21 ink.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, they're trying to take basically really small Bitcoin mining chips and put them in smartphones, put them in smart devices. So, in theory, your refrigerator could mine Bitcoin while you're asleep. But I'd be curious to see how they're going to get around the issue of power consumption there. A lot of these low-latency devices. Right, a lot of these devices, smart devices, you want to try to conserve energy as much as possible. But anyways, getting off on a tangent there a little bit. So I guess we can jump into Coinigy.
Okay. Well, I think we had one more article we were gonna touch on, the Greek exit.
Oh, yes.
I don't know if we want to. Maybe we'll hold off on that till Brian does his Bitcoin analysis, and then we can touch on that, because I think a lot of us would agree that the Greek exit might have impacted Bitcoin's price. I mean, maybe. We're not, we can't say for sure.
Right. Right on. Okay, so we'll jump into some Coinigy stuff here. Rob, did you want to show anything? Or do you want me to take the reins here?
No, nothing in particular. I just brought it up.
Okay. Thanks again, Julian. That was awesome. Thanks for filling in for JC.
Yeah,
and JC,
great job,
we want
Julian.
you back, man. We need more people to fill in these blanks here, because I'm just not a social butterfly. So. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay. Speaking of awkward silences, there we go. So we just wanted to give kind of a quick update this week about the Coinigy platform, just to show you a couple new features and kind of talk about our API a little bit, as well as kind of announce the fact that we're going to be providing historical data pretty soon. So we're building out that system right now, but I'll just jump into kind of new features. The first thing of note, those of you who have been logging in recently might have noticed that we have a new tour, just to kind of show you around the platform. It's pretty cool. It kind of walks you through placing your first alert, shows you what page you're on, shows you how to switch a market, that kind of stuff. So if you haven't logged in recently, make sure you get in there and check that out. We have it on 4 pages right now. The idea is to kind of walk through the tour on just about every page where there's functionality that people have questions about. The other thing that's notable is, let's see here, just one second. Hangouts is killing my computer, even though I just upgraded. The overview page, there we go, the tour's popping up. Hangouts. Okay, so we now have sorting on the overview page, which is pretty sweet. So if you want, you can, click on, you can sort alphabetically. You can sort by last price. You can sort by percent change from low to high, from high to low. Price range. So right here, this is showing the low and the high of the recent 24 hours, and then where the price currently sits. And we also have volume and percent change sorting as well. So that's pretty cool, and it looks like a lot of volume has been dropping off in the last 24 hours. Pretty interesting.
So what happens?
Wow.
What happens if those values change with the sorting?
Oh yeah, if you have it sorted, by percent change descending, this will automatically update. So you can kind of set it and forget it and come back later, and it will constantly update live whenever a value changes. And as usual, we have a quick view chart. You can just launch it in a new window whenever you want. And what else were we going to talk about, Rob?
Well, I can just
API and whatnot.
Yeah, I could just elaborate a little bit on the API and the historical data.
Sure.
So kind of as like an a la carte service, we're going to be offering our historical data archives available for sale, and they'll just be provided in a downloadable format, basically. We'll have hourly, minutely, and daily OHLC and volume data, as well as the actual raw tick data as well, for all the data we've collected going back to the beginning of 2014, and as well as some data even well before that. So pretty soon we'll have a way to be able to get access to that data and purchase that data. And that part will be, like I said, kind of a la carte, so you won't need to be a subscriber to be able to get access to that data. Also, being a subscriber won't just guarantee you that you can download it whenever you want. However, subscribers will be able to get access to the API, which we're going to be releasing soon as well. The API will allow you to do just about anything that our website and mobile app allows you to do with your account. So you can add and remove keys. You can look up your favorites, add and remove favorites. You can also access the charting data that's recent, and a number of other things, including placing orders across multiple exchanges using one common format. So
right,
I think
this is going to speed up development. I mean, if you're working on kind of a multi-exchange trading bot, this is going to speed up your development greatly. I mean, you'll be able to just use one API schema basically to connect to currently, how many exchanges are we at? 25.
Yeah.
Which will probably be 35 in another month or two. So
yeah.
It's going to be pretty sweet.
So in addition to REST API, which handles all those things that I mentioned, we'll also be offering access to our WebSocket feed, which will allow you to connect to basically our real-time trade history and order books across all the exchanges and everything with just one common format. And with channels, you can even subscribe to multiple data streams from different exchanges and trading pairs all at the same time. So that'll be pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, a lot of people have been asking about it, and it's finally coming to fruition. It's just
right.
There's quite a bit of development involved here, so we're dotting our, what are we doing? Dotting our T's and crossing our I's?
Yeah, that'd be a little strange looking, but something like that.
So just to summarize again, we're going to have a REST API mainly for account functions, and then a WebSocket API for real-time data and order books, and then for historical data we have a separate system where you can just log in and download to your heart's content. So yeah. And then I think we're going to run through adding an exchange. I don't know, we're kind of running low on time here, but I'll just kind of walk it through in case anybody's new to Coinigy. But basically, what we allow you to do, if you're a crypto trader, usually you have 2 or 3 exchanges that you deal with. You know, a lot of people will be on Bittrex and Cryptsy and Poloniex, kind of trading various altcoins. Some coins are supported here, some coins are supported there. What we allow you to do is actually plug your API key directly into Coinigy, and you can then trade directly through Coinigy through one interface. And you know, as you can see, provide pretty darn nice charts, high definition charting, live order book data. Let me go just to show you an idea of the update speed. So here's OKCoin BTC CNY, which is pretty much the highest volume market. Whether that volume is purposeful or not is another story, but as you can see, just quick updates here. Hangouts is freezing my computer up, as usual. But all you do, you go into the accounts area, and you plug in your, just 1 second here. Let's skip this. So you just pick your exchange, plug in a nickname, your API key, and your secret. All that data is going to be stored fully encrypted on our end. And it's going to pop up over here on the right. And you will now have access to balance tracking. You can place orders directly through Coinigy. Just to give you an idea kind of what the balance tracking looks like. This is my current holdings. I actually don't own the majority of these accounts. They're just test accounts. You know, and you get a portfolio history, a lot of fun stuff. This also shows up on the overview page.
So William has some. Well, I just wanted to mention the reason you have some balances in there that aren't yours or whatever is because you're tracking wallet addresses as well as exchange accounts, which we do also allow that. And as you can see, we take a daily snapshot of your balances so that you can see a trend and also look at your performance over time. And one of the really cool things that we offer that none of the other crypto trading platforms out there offer is the ability to add more than one key per exchange. So if you have multiple accounts on the same exchange, maybe if you're trading for somebody else or something like that, you can add more than one account for any given exchange.
Right, and that's one use case that we're definitely starting to tailor to with some of our future updates. We have quite a few people that are kind of running, hedge funds, basically mutual fund type situations where people will pool their money and they'll control their API accounts. So Coinigy kind of provides a great way to basically control multiple accounts, keep track of your balances, watch all of your trades, as well as monitor the charts from one place. So
in the future, we want to offer portfolio managers like that a way for them to report performance individually to their customers, basically. So maybe having a little dashboard or something that you could provide to your customers that you manage their funds, and they could see the performance of just their accounts and that kind of thing. So those are some of the things we'll be doing in the future.
Yep, exactly. So I guess that's kind of it for now. I don't want to take up too much time here. I guess
get into that Bitcoin analysis.
Yeah, I think it's BTC time. I'm really curious to hear what's going on with the price jump, and then I noticed a little bit of a downturn in there. Let me just pull it up here.
What's in your crystal ball that you've got over there, Brian?
All right, thanks for that presentation, guys, and I love how you guys just keep adding value to your platform. Very impressed with the work that you guys are doing.
Thanks, Brian. Hey, and likewise over there at TRI, your site, Julian's been kind of giving me a little bit of a heads up that guys have kind of a site redesign, and you're working on a lot of cool stuff. So kudos to you guys for staying busy as well.
Well, thank you. Maybe after I'm done my spiel, Julian, maybe you can put together a 2 or 3 sentence sort of update for the viewers as to what we got in the works. But anyway, he's not really that impressed with that suggestion. The long and short of it here is actually what I find amusing, and it's just a side note. is I used to write computer programs back in the 1980s using Pascal.
Ah,
And
I have experience with Pascal.
all
That was
right,
fun.
and people joke that the web page that I had up and running this time last year, when I was full time futures market trading, working in the trading industry, it sort of looked like it was written in the 1980s. So, and people often joke with me when they look at my funny web page, they look at it like that's the 1980s web page. So Julian came along last year, and he put together this WordPress site, and frankly speaking, I think it served our purposes really well. We
Yeah, I
have,
have to say, after using it, I mean, it's very functional. I mean,
yeah, I
it's
mean,
pretty easy to navigate. Got a
Julian
great
is,
chat on there and charts and everything you can need.
yeah,
Very active
Julian
chat.
has taxed the WordPress platform to the max. I think in our sort of modern day, 2015, the WordPress platform is a little bit dated, and I think we may actually stay on the WordPress platform. But Julian, along with another gentleman that we're working with, they're putting together an absolutely beautiful site. So that's supposed to be rolling out later on this summer. And we have a whole bunch of fun treats and stuff in store for you guys. So by all means,
Awesome.
keep your eyes peeled. We have some really cool stuff on the way. But I mean, the long and short of this, when it comes to trading, is I mean, you can have lots of opinions about where Bitcoin price might be going. But at the end of the day, really what we trade is we trade what are called setups. And ironically enough, especially when you're right in the thick of things and in the market, and I think we were going to talk about Bitcoin to start off with tonight. And somebody made reference earlier that we did see a little bit of a rally in Bitcoin's price, and that may have been partially due to this Grexit. I find that kind of amusing, in that you have to understand that a lot of newspaper writers, a lot of content providers, they get paid by the content. So, especially on like major media outlets and stuff, it's incredible to watch how the markets sort of move one direction or another, and then they're scrambling left to explain why it actually happened. I was joking with somebody today earlier, and they were a student of the programs, and they were one of these types of people that they had to understand exactly why things happen. And what we actually find happens in the marketplace a lot is that a technical event will happen, but we don't actually understand the actual fundamental reason of why it happened
Mm-hmm.
until quite a bit down the road. So, the long and short of it here, as I have on the screen right here, what I'm trying to get to, is just simply that something has happened here in Bitcoin, and I'm looking at the Bitfinex price right here in particular. Doesn't really matter which market we look at. I will say, though, for BTCE followers, they do have this funny little wick that was put in on about a month or two ago on that Russian ban comment. So take that into account. But across most of the exchanges, you can see that we actually have a fairly well-defined W that's come into the market here. And
I see it.
you
I think I see
probably have
it.
heard me talk lots in these videos about this concept of market structure. So the market itself is trying to send a message here. You remember, and I don't know whether you guys remember from previous conversations or not, but those in the professional trading community, we're not so obsessed with being right 100% of the time. In fact, that's actually asking maybe a little bit much. What we are really wanting to do, and I don't know, Will, you've taken a good chunk of our introductory program. I don't know whether this is sunk in or not, but
well, I think I remember something about we're trying to nail 66%.
that's right. And the bottom line there is it's not so much that we are, right or wrong. It's just what we want to try and do is find an edge, with sort of something that'll, hint that at least more often than not, when this particular event happens, you often have the market move in your favor. And, this basic principle of W's and buying W's works, I would say, somewhere around 70% of the time. And what's really interesting is this is a very wide W. And what I'm actually kind of looking at is you guys need to understand we started our school program last year, right when Bitcoin put in a massive M right up here, right? Bang. And we started our program last July.
Good
Great
timing,
timing.
huh?
And so we've basically been just watching this meltdown of lower highs, lots of M's, lower lows, and then the bottoms at best were like V's, right? And then we put in more M's, and the bottoms would be V's. And I'm, very encouraged by the fact that after a long period of time, we have now actually started to, like I pointed out earlier, started to not only make higher lows, but even off of the shorter, time frame, actually make higher highs. Like something has fundamentally shifted here in the marketplace. Is it directly related to Grexit? Frankly, I don't know.
Brian, I mean, sorry for being a complete noob here, but could you kind of explain what the Grexit situation is? I actually didn't even get a chance to check up on the article. I mean,
well, simply put,
a way to explain it in a nutshell?
Yeah. Simply put, there are a number of countries in Europe that decided a while ago that it was in their best interest to use a common currency, right?
Oh, okay. Are they getting off the euro? Is that what's going on?
Right. Well, so the bottom line is these countries all signed up to what they called the Maastricht Treaty, which said that we're going to be a loosely organized group of countries. We're not going to give up our sovereignty. But at the same time, we're going to try and use the same currency. And so as a result, we have to agree to certain fiscal policy standards. And the biggest one is governments can't overspend. And according to the Maastricht Treaty, the original was that we were supposed to cap our spending at 3% of GDP. They could not run a deficit more than 3% GDP. The unfortunate reality of this world is democratically elected governments have a very hard time sticking to balanced budgets, right? It's
right.
not,
I remember
the
you
two
running
don't go
through this
hand in
with me.
hand. And on top of that, in Europe in particular, you sort of have like two different types of society. Northern Europe is very industrious, very frugal. We talk in the course about how, modern day industrial revolution got its start sort of in northwestern Europe. Southern Europe, unfortunately, they have a very different way of looking at life. And as a result, we literally have a situation where half of the Maastricht Treaty members are frugal and they're sticking to the Maastricht Treaty terms, and half of them aren't. And Greece, unfortunately, historically, has been sort of notorious for spending more money than they bring in. Historically, the way they solved the problem was they would issue government bonds, right, debts,
Oh, sounds familiar.
until the market wouldn't accept them anymore. As soon as the market doesn't accept them anymore, they would devalue their currency and start the whole game all over again. And you have to sort of understand how international debt markets work to fully appreciate that. But the long and short of it is this strategy worked very well. The problem is that once Greece now wants to join the euro, they don't have that option anymore. And basically the Germans are saying, no, you know what, you have to balance your budget. And the Greeks are saying, we've tried really hard with austerity, and we still have a lot of problems. There are questions as to, Greeks' infrastructure. What is their sort of tax policy internally? That's a total different conversation for a different day. Somebody asked me this earlier today. Frankly, I don't think it's in Europe's best interest to let this ball start rolling, because there are a number of nations, right? They're called the pigs nations. There's Portugal, there's Italy, there's Greece, there's Spain. Ireland used to be thrown in there for quite some time. They all have this sort of structural deficit problem, and if you let Greece go, then you're going to start almost like a domino effect.
So you foresee this happening in several other countries now?
Well, so the point here is what I think's happened, right? And it was interesting. I was looking at the news feed. I thought it was interesting. Zero Hedge made a comment in 2012 about the Greek crisis. Well, that was 3 years ago. So if it was a crisis then, it's probably still going to be a crisis now.
Mm-hmm.
And my feeling is I can't imagine that the Europeans are just going to walk away from Greece. I think at the very least, they'll probably just play kick the can, loan them enough money to make the interest payment, and then just kick it down the road and say, we'll approach it again in 6 months or a year or whatever.
Buy a little bit of time.
Back in 2012.
The long and short of it here is anything can happen in this world, right? And, maybe we might, looking at the Bitcoin chart here, we might actually see a little bit of panic in the market being translated into, panic buying of Bitcoins. I don't think that, even if the entire country of Greece all went and bought a little bit of Bitcoin all at exactly the same moment, they could really materially move the market in the form that I think that the market moved yesterday. Like I said.
Really? So we're in those numbers high enough now where you don't think?
Well, honestly, the average Greek citizen, maybe they could buy. I suppose if they all moved in unison. What I see happened here, and it happened right across all of these Bitcoin exchanges, is, basically we finally have, over a wider time period, actually put in a situation of higher lows and higher highs. Like I said, structurally, I think something significant has happened here in Bitcoin. Now, this is just opinion.
Mm-hmm.
The actual trade that I took is I basically said, I know from personal experience that 60 to 70% of the time when double bottoms come in, that the odds of me seeing a 2-to-1 risk reward on a long setup, and in this case all it would simply represent is the market going up and testing these highs. 60 to 70% of the time I feel very confident that that's going to happen. We talked about, in previous the videos that we've done.
So you're long on Bitcoin right now.
I bought a little bit of this double bottom.
What kind of a time frame are you looking at, Brian?
This could take a while, right? I'm certainly not going to argue that. Really, to be perfectly honest with you, I won't put a time window on this trade. It's going to happen when the market wants it to happen, right?
Okay, fair enough.
I'm just going to simply say, as long as the market is above this level, I'm still in this trade. Now, this is a higher time frame setup, And so as a result, I have to be able to justify seeing a test at least of this level here, right, to give me a 2-to-1. Minimum, I suppose, on the trade would be something like that. Really what I see is, keep in mind structural change, right? These double bottoms don't come along every day. Maybe
Especially
we're
not in
still...
BTC.
I beg your pardon?
Especially not in BTC.
Yeah, well, especially over the past year, it's been pretty tough
Right.
to find them, hasn't it? And so, all I'm going to simply postulate, let's do a really simple fib. You remember from our fib tutorial. If this is the past year's range of Bitcoin and we have any sort of bullishness in here, then, quite literally, if I'm thinking about shorting Bitcoin, it has to, the thoughts of shorting Bitcoin should come in up off of here. And you'll notice that really that's the original point, if we go on clotheslines, that's the original point where Bitcoin actually failed. Or if we go on high-low close, that's the point where Bitcoin originally failed, right? So, if we just go off of just this range here, this is just going back to last fall, then we can realistically, if we look at our optimal trade entry or reload zone, whatever you want to call it, the area between 61.8 and 78.6, well, then we can realistically shoot for up into here. And, oh, by the way, interesting to see, there's 50% level, which just so happens to be our 2-to-1 risk reward.
Interesting.
So
that's
now
a strange coincidence.
Right. Well, the point here is that the market is sending me a signal, right? And double bottoms are in my trading plan. If I did, and frankly, I don't know if this trade is going to work. In fact, I make another case elsewhere that this could very easily be a nice little harmonic pattern, bully BCD, which would take us right up into a mountain man level. You guys, do we ever talk about mountain man before? Anyway, very good futures trader. He basically shorts 61.8 tags religiously. So I can absolutely see for certain that there will be some traders that will just hit this 61.8 knee-jerk reaction. But anyway, so the point here is this is my trading plan. I trade double bottoms. Frankly, my opinion here as to whether this trade is actually going to work is kind of irrelevant. And really, if this is in my trading plan, ironically enough, a lot of the trades that are really hard to take are actually the hard trades to take.
Right.
And what I've noticed here
really
is that there are a lot of skeptics about this double bottom. So in a weird sort of way, that almost validates the idea to me a little bit. So long and short of it here is I am long a very small amount. I am using the Joe 6-pack risk strategy on this trade. So, Will, do you remember what Joe 6-pack does?
Sells at the bottom.
I sure hope that's not the strategy I'm taking. In our course recently, we covered our risk management model, and there are many different ways to trade the market. We can, always, we're always thinking about risk, right? And Cry's second rule of investing says never risk more than 5% of your portfolio on any one single trade idea, okay? Now, there are a number of different ways to handle this. I could go on and put, let's say I had $1,000 to work with, and the cost of Bitcoin is $248. Hopefully you can understand. I could go buy 4 Bitcoins, right? But if the entire trade value goes against me by, what's 5% of $1,000? Anybody?
$50.
Right. So if I went with that $1,000 and I bought 4 Bitcoins with that, well, 5% of that's $50. If that entire position moves down $50, I got to get out, right? I could, with that $1,000, maybe only put $500 in, right? That would be buying 2 Bitcoins here, right? And that way, if I've only spent $500, well, 5% of 500, now I can risk 10% of that amount of money, right? Does that make sense what I'm saying
Yeah,
there?
that does make sense. Yeah, it's kind of
Right now,
a
high
compounding,
leverage
changing
traders,
strategy.
like high leverage traders, they might go buy like a 10-to-1 position here, a leverage on Coin or something. And obviously, a 5% or $50 of that $1,000, it might only be like a buck or two, right? So the point I'm trying to make here is that I've taken 10% of my stake that I can work with, and I've put it into this trade. And so by definition, I can actually risk 10%, half of that 10% and stay within my 5% risk threshold.
Okay, I follow.
So it turns out that this trade risk is about 20%, right? It's about 30, 40 bucks, 15, 20% of my capital, okay? But we need to understand, I'm not going and betting the farm on this setup. At the absolute worst, I'm going to take maybe a 2% portfolio hit if this setup fails.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Hey,
That's
Brian, I don't want to
really,
cut you
really...
off, but we're running over a little bit. We should probably get into some altcoins here pretty soon.
Okay.
That's the signal.
So was that? Did I just go over 4 minutes?
A little bit, but no, that was good.
Well, I think it's kind of relevant because it is Bitcoin, and for Pete's sake, we haven't had a buy signal on Bitcoin.
Yeah, there's
forever,
something
right?
going on finally. It's been pretty stagnant for a while, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But...
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. Sorry.
So, Brian, I'm going to, while you're pulling up your chart there, I'm going to bring up the first coin we were going to look at is Goldcoin, GLD.
Okay.
So I'm just going to bring up their website here and talk about it for 2 seconds.
Yeah, I looked at this company's site before, and I kind of got the impression that they wanted you to believe that they're involved in the gold business, or there's some sort of gold link to their coin, but I didn't see any, so I'd be very cautious.
I was poking around as well, and I didn't necessarily see any link to any real commodities. Maybe I could be.
Yeah, I think they call themselves the gold standard of cryptocurrency. That's great, but just viewers should be careful. I don't think there's any sort of direct correlation between this coin and the gold market.
Right, and I don't know, on their website it also says it's faster than both BTC and LTC as far as confirmation times, and they have a 51% attack defense system.
I didn't understand that. I read that too. I didn't understand that.
Yeah, I haven't gone into detail yet, but I'm definitely going to be researching that just to see how they have countered that.
Do we Will, could you just grab the Coin Market Cap website, and as we go through these, just read off what you see as a market cap and the amount of coins outstanding?
Sure.
That would
let me get on your screen here to share the chart.
All right, so why don't we go through these here then? So, as I've got on the screen here, this is the GLD. And what I like to do for you guys, just people who are watching, to make it easy on you guys, Will goes and posts his, the Coinigy link, and you guys respond to it with your picks. And then as I just sort of am ready to do them, I'll just tweet them out. So if you guys want to follow my Twitter feed, I think it's a good idea. And so you can see exactly what it is we're going to do. And then that way, as I'm working through the day and I see your request, then I'll just go and jot down some notes. And then when we get to it tonight, I save you guys some time here. So the first one that someone asked me to look at was the GLD. Will,
Brian, just to give you an update, GLD, the market cap is 596 BTC, 596.
So the entire market cap of this thing is
$150,000.
I beg your pardon?
$150,000 US dollars.
All right, so that in itself should be a little bit of I'm not going to say warning per se, but a caution, right? 500. Did you say $100,000 or 500,000?
148,000.
All right, so 148,000. It'd be interesting to see where it is that what these guys want to go. What it is they're actually planning on doing with this thing. One of our site members, pretty intimately involved in one coin in particular, and sort of he gives us an update as to what their business plan is and where they want to go. So, by all means, whoever asked me about GLD, if you want to send along, some information about what their story is, I'm more than happy to keep it on the radar screen. Just the technical 2 cents. You can see one thing I think that kind of, let's see if this was it or not. I can't remember. Yeah, GLD, I was a little bit concerned. I don't really like markets where they're only traded on one market, and you can see that it only had Cripsy here. So that's a little bit of a warning sign for me.
A little bit suspect.
Right. I just want to be careful because I don't want to get trapped if one current exchange just, brain farts or something.
I'd love to get, Bill or Richie from Bittrex on here to find out why they're not listing it. That would be very interesting.
Yeah, well, there you go. You got yourself a challenge, mister. And this is one great selling feature of Coinigy, and, it's very helpful for me, is, if I just am interested in a coin, right off of the bat, I can tell, like Bittrex, they like to do your little low volume warnings, right, where they want to just grab your coins from you. At least if I see a number of cross-exchange listings, I know I have some options. So the first things first, a little bit of a warning sign on GLD. Second thing, as we said, market cap's awfully small, so just fully appreciate what you're getting involved in here, right? This isn't blue chip altcoin investing, if there is such a thing. So we came to market. You can see the subtle nuances of the ICOs and all this, right? Interesting little W that was put in over here. If you just follow M's and W's, kind of like what we just saw in Bitcoin right now, you can see how it's worked its way higher. We seem to have established a top end of a range here up at 3,700 and change. And then you can see in a great kerfuffle, boom, they just slammed it right down. You have to be careful when you're trading these altcoins, people. They love to do these crazy tails like this. It's very normal in this space. And, for those people that, are course alumni or students, this is, and, Will, this is for you specifically. This is one major reason why I like to take the little old lady approach to investing in altcoins, because you can get these one-day spikes. And one of the coins we'll look at later, you can see on various exchanges how they're just monkeying around with price, and this could just be a one-day anomaly. And you got to be able to sort of absorb that kind of action as an investor. So market cranked down here, and you can see that this basically set up a range, high of the range, low of the range. We said 61.8 to 78.6 fibs. This is usually if they're whales or institutions or whatever hell you want to call them on a $150,000 coin. It can't be too big of a whale. Right? But you can see where they basically stopped any counter trend rally in its tracks here. Bang, 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 right?
Yep, right in that channel.
So if we assume that this is a top end of a range, then, and this is the bottom, if we were thinking about being a buyer, where might we start considering? Well, here's 61.8 to 78.6, and you can see how prices slowly worked its way down into this area. If we did that same little fib study just off of this range, let's see if the chart loaded yet. There it is there. You can hopefully see that there might have been some traders, and of course we say traders with, kind of tongue-in-cheek, $150,000 coin, that would hunt for a nice long off of this OTE RLZ. Can you see that? 61.8 to 78.6. Look how the market bottomed nicely through there, right? So this is, for people who are watching this video, it's just such a handy little tool to use to help you time your purchases. And really, at present, I can't really jump on the bull bandwagon on this thing until I start seeing some higher time frame market structure, right? So what I really need to see is this thing confirm a W in here. If and when that happens, then I can start getting bullish, right? Interesting trade location for those that are hunting bottoms. And as you can see, the market actually gave you another trade location, OTE within OTE. Now, to actually get me to turn to a bull, I really need to see the market get its butt back above here. And really, ideally, I'd like to see, a nice healthy volume flow. I don't like this. This looks a bit suspect to me. And really, I'd like to see a nice double bottom in momentum. This is a bit sloppy to me, too.
Right.
So, interesting blind OTE purchases to try and do some bottom fishing, bottom hunting. But no real trend direction as of yet.
Okay.
All right.
Makes sense.
So that's our GLD, and can you kind of
possible buy?
Can you feel how it's kind of still pointing down here?
Yeah, and you might be right. I mean, it might bounce around that OTE level for who knows how long before it finally retraces.
If you were going to consider a trade, there was a half decent ideas down in here, but structurally we still haven't turned the corner. You can see how it's really tried to turn the corner here, and then massive M, right? Bang, 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 see you later. Right? M, bang, 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 see you later. So let's start seeing W's here to start declaring a bull market.
All right, let's make some W's, guys.
All right, moving on. The next one on our list was this MYR.
Yeah, that's Myriad Coin. Just a little bit about it. It's got a 30-second block time. They claim that's 20 times faster than Bitcoin. Sounds about accurate. And they have a new SMS wallet, which is pretty interesting. I guess you can actually, send and receive Myriad Coin directly from your phone via SMS. Pretty cool.
All right. So we look at this chart, and I sort of took a little different approach on this one. I thought when I would talk to the audience, in that what I did was I overlaid the Polo chart with the Bittrex chart and the Cripsy chart. And what we see, remember I said earlier that if you're going to invest in altcoins, you have to be able to handle your market doing these little FU moves like this, right? Again, this is just a simple testament to the idea that we don't want to risk more than 5% of our portfolio on any one single trade. But we understand that altcoins, by definition, are extremely volatile. Right? Whoops, this is the wrong chart. Where was I? MYR.
MYR.
Right? And so
by the way, Brian
has
a market cap of $64,000 US.
This has a market cap of $64,000. Is that what you said?
Yep.
All right. So again, if we're going to be trading these, understand if you take $600 position in this, you're controlling 1% of this coin. That's interesting.
Which still blows my mind.
Right. And I think it's an excellent testament to the youth of this market, right? The cool part about it is, and this has been my philosophy all along, is if you can establish positions in all of these, and really we don't know who is going to be the ultimate winners or losers, but look how far this coin has fallen from its start. So I am interested in hunting down here, right? For a potential for the market to, and I don't even need to see new highs to make money on this. I mean, technically
it just needs to come up a little bit there.
Yeah, I mean, technically speaking, if I can sneak in, and I'm not going to risk a lot of money, but if I can sneak in off of these lows and and just try and hold on for a move back to 38.2 or something, I mean, in a weird sort of way, it's almost worth taking this risk and knowing that like five or no, I would even say 7 or 8 out of these trades are not going to work, but 3 or 4 of them might work, and
And
that's going to represent like a.
percentage-wise, they'll make up for the 7 other failed
That's
trades.
right. You know, I mean, if you have this kind of potential reward, that's a 20 bagger, right? It's almost worth throwing a couple bucks into this thing just to see where the heck this thing's going to take you.
Right. You know, and that's honestly, that to me is the beauty of the alt market as well. I mean, you can throw $10 in a coin and just watch it.
Yeah, and
There's
you know,
no real.
what I've done here with our website, and some of the Twitter community kind of laughs at me, but what I did was I just last fall I said, you know what I want to do is I want to create sort of a Joe six-pack model. Can we actually pull this off of making money trading altcoins with $500? Right?
Mm-hmm.
$500. Everybody's got $500, right? So quite literally, like we said here, we just funded the account last September with 1.25 coins. And what's really cool is even as Bitcoin is getting decimated, right? It's down 50% since last fall. We're still showing, as we speak right now, a nice 38% return on your money, taking this nightmare Bitcoin scenario into account.
Right. Yeah, and I know you did receive some flack for the amount that you initially invested. I don't know, people on Twitter are just vicious, but I mean, you're just trying to prove the model. You know,
That's
it's
right.
not
I think
necessarily
it's just
money,
it's just an
more about.
excellent demonstration that if you take really, really low percentage risk, look how many coins we have. We got a whole crap load of these things, right?
Right.
No one position is too big of a risk, and yet you can grow your portfolio very respectably. And what's really cool is you can actually hedge yourself against Bitcoin having a brain fart and collapsing. So you can actually be invested in crypto, realize a really nice return, and only work with like $500. And we're just going to keep growing this thing. And, you know, really my feeling is, you know, especially with opportunities like this, you know, and I can show you lots of them. We had just over the past month or two, we've had 4 or 5 coins all go up 3, 4, 500%, right?
Yep.
This is, you know, in the course, you know, we just actually did this. I don't know whether you watched this class, Will, or not. But 38.2 is actually supposed to be our determiner as to whether this thing is actually going to survive or not. So we should, at some point, actually expect to see a 38.2 test. Isn't that funny? So, and that's not even, you know, even remotely.
And it looks so crazy on the chart. Like, wow, there's no way it's ever going to get up there, but just they have the tendency to do it, given enough time.
Well, you know, what's really cool is if we were back last fall and we were talking about Dash, well, same sort of thing. You know, I mean, before this rally happened, we were looking at a market that looked like this. Right? Straight up and straight back down to the bottom. And there's no way people could not imagine that the market was going to go back up here. Right? There was one that we recently have been trading in our group, IOC, same sort of thing, right? Market had a big run up, then a collapse, right? In fact, I think it went even lower. Where are we here? Yeah, even lower, right? Total collapse. People are like, no way is this thing going to come back. And sure enough,
people were tweeting
Alter. But
people were tweeting Alter at that time, and oh, you know, never playing crypto again, and then shot right up.
Right. So the point of the matter here is, yeah, it's very tempting and it's very easy to look at an MYR and just completely write it off. Technically speaking, is it actually a buy right now? Well, we have some interesting stuff happening here. You can see somebody came in and bought a whack of this in here, right? Somebody decided that, you know what, I'm going to take a shot against these lows.
That's really interesting. There's all that volume and the market still didn't move all that much.
Well, there was quite a negative trend here, right? So that really kind of just stopped the negativity. And now I would kind of say that this market's kind of range bound right now, right? Pretty wide trading ranges. Basically nothing is your floor. And you can see that we're actually starting to try and make higher highs and higher lows here, right? Can you see that?
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow, that's only around 10 sats right now, isn't it?
That's right. I mean, this thing's basically, what is that? It's 25 ticks.
Oh, 25,
The lows here were 13 ticks. This one's a 4, right? 4. So I'm not saying that, hey, like I said before, we have a little old lady approach, which simply says you're going to take your portfolio and you're going to figure out what 5% of that portfolio is, and let's say 5% comes out to $50. Well, you're going to just go and buy $50 worth of this thing. And you're going to simply say, you know what, I am willing to risk this entire $50. Well, let's just see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Does that make sense?
Yep.
That $50 might turn into a couple $100. Right? Might turn into $500.
Right, exactly, and that's another thing too. I mean, those Twitter people that were criticizing, I think those people are the ones that tend to go all in. They'll put their entire bankroll into one coin, and then it'll go to the moon. Well, cool. Well, the next time it won't, and now you're completely.
That's right. And what's really interesting about that is I asked a few of those people. Keep in mind that these guys are extremely young, right? So they haven't been a lot of the people that are involved in crypto and altcoins. They haven't even been through a recession yet. They don't even know what a recession looks like. Good thing, long and short of it here, we're not in a recession right now, so we don't have to worry too much about that. But I asked one gentleman, and he said, well, I've actually blown up my account 4 times.
Yeah, I mean, it's risk management.
If you want to demonstrate best practices, I mean, ideally, I would like to grow this account to hundreds of BTC, thousands of BTC. But the interesting thing is, if my account was 1.5 BTC or 150 BTC, I would be following exactly the same rules. And that's the cool thing that you sort of mentioned a minute ago there, Will, about that's one of the great appeals of altcoins, is that you can trade extremely small amounts of money and actually make money doing this. Watch your account grow. In the stock market, you can't really do this because commissions, right? They'll kill you.
Exactly.
There's no way you can run 5% and do like a $50 trade in the stock market.
Right.
So that's one huge selling feature I absolutely love about crypto. So long and short of it here is, could I justify maybe throwing 1% of my portfolio at this as a little bottom fish nibble, with the idea that maybe, down the road, if this thing can get its act together, there might be a huge gain? That's not a bad idea. Do I actually have like 3 reasons to take a trade and a buy here? No. The answer simply is not. I would caution you to take the little old lady approach, because as you can see, and remember that chart that I showed you a minute ago, these guys are really susceptible to this wicky and taily action, and you don't want to be trading really heavily margin and get into this kind of nonsense, right? My advice is you either take little old lady or Joe Six-Pack approach, relatively low risk here, and what you're shooting for is that 10 bagger, 20 bagger that'll really make it worth your while.
Good analysis. Excellent. So I think the next next one we have up is GeoCoin.
Yeah, now this one, interestingly, it got a lot of feedback when I tweeted and I mentioned that I was going to look at this.
Really interesting. I was just reading about it. Actually, today is the first time I've been acquainted. I mean, to me, it kind of just sounds like another Litecoin.
I think in my Twitter feed I did see people sort of making reference, but they were also talking about what was it here? Somebody said this is actually one of our site members, a really cool guy, Ultimate Warrior. Yeah, they actually had quite a heated debate here all through the day. They were really talking about how they really like this one. I actually invited Gambler. Gambler is actually also too a really really smart guy. So if you're gonna follow anybody, follow that Gambler. Follow this Ultimate Warrior. These guys are really really smart when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah,
But
you got quite a smart crew behind you, Brian, I must say.
Well, and then there's Alex Stirk. Alex, he was doing those hangouts with the Decentral people. Also a very, very wise guy.
We might as well give them a plug. Hey, check out Block Talk.
And they all seem to have a generally positive feel for this geo. So
I think they do something with storing GIS data in their blockchain. Which is like geographic imaging.
Okay.
Data.
Does?
GIS data. They store that in their blockchain. I think that's part of their, the customization of their coin.
Cool.
Oh, okay.
It has something to do with geocaching.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So that makes sense then.
Yeah, so if we just start off our simple analysis with this sort of ICO event, right?
So sorry to cut you off, Brian, but Rob, that's kind of like so it's the blockchain is storing all these GPS coordinates then, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Yep.
So how does
geocaching.
How does that act as a value-added service? I don't understand. What would
unless they're hiding nuggets of gold all over the world and then storing the coordinates. Well, I don't think I think the value is in access to that data via decentralized blockchain, basically, to allow geocachers to be able to, find new geocaching targets or whatever, the things they go out and find. That's what I'm guessing, at least, would be the benefit of it.
All right. So,
it's a really popular thing. People do it with their kids and stuff like that. I don't know. I've never done it.
I downloaded an app and I did it once, and I found like playing cards or something.
Yeah. I don't understand. You get rewarded if you find things?
Yeah, people will.
They hide stuff.
Apps. Yeah, you can download a mobile app, and it'll give you like a rough coordinate for where something is hidden, and then they'll usually give you a riddle or just a hint, and they'll have. You're supposed to take an item and give an item. Basically.
All right, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So long and short of it here is when I was getting ready for today, what we often see these coins ICO and then they quickly leave the ranges. I found it really interesting that this thing, and I don't know whether it's an ICO, all these boys, Alex and Gambler and stuff, they would know the background behind this.
Mm-hmm.
But I find it really interesting that this coin is just sitting right in here. So, we don't really have a dramatically trending market. What we have is a market that's just sitting nice and quietly near the bottom end of its range, right? Just sitting here, just twiddling its thumbs.
$33,000 market cap, by the way.
What's the size of this? Sorry?
$33,000 US.
All right. So again, we have to sort of, we need to ask ourselves, what would someone do with a $33,000 market cap coin? Maybe at the present it's still considered a bit of a novelty. I don't know. Technically, if you were going to be following this thing for levels, you can see that whoever's sort of running this story has basically put in a floor off of this, what does that say, 6,200 or so? Am I reading that right? Whoops. Let's try and move you over. Yeah, it looks to be about 6,200 off of this candle low. And every time we sort of get down into that area, the market rejects that, right? Clearly, if we lose this level, there's going to be some problems. And we're probably going to have to, at the very least, explore down in here. If we look at our indicators, I'm a little concerned that she's a bit soft. We're kind of losing the floors here that we've established. And really, I'd like to see some buyers come in here. Where are the buyers, please? Momentum-wise, same sort of thing, a little bit drifty. We were pointing higher. Sorry?
I just said nothing crazy in terms of momentum. I mean, it's kind of
right. It kind of, just kind of drifting along here.
Mm-hmm. I gotta say, Rob just sent me the link to the AND thread for Geo, and this actually looks really cool. You can actually basically drop coins virtually on a map. So, cool. And then other people come to actually collect them, I guess.
Yeah, so it's like geocaching without having to put anything physical there. They get to basically find geocoins, and then they get them for finding that spot, basically.
Yeah, really interesting idea.
It is pretty cool.
I could see, maybe like a major corporation or something using one of these as like an incentive kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly.
Or even, I could even see like Garmin or something like that buying the whole platform altogether and using it to promote their products, basically.
Could be.
Right.
We did get some sort of bullish structure coming, through, into the late spring here. So really, I don't have a problem. Again, sort of idea. I like the little old lady approach. I'm a bit concerned at the high price. Is there a reason? Does the price here have to stay at this level? Can they knock it down?
What's actually pushing it up?
Pardon me?
Or what's actually holding it up there?
Right.
If there's nothing substantial, then it's...
If we go and lose these lows and you're trading this, right, I might be a bit concerned, but, keep in mind, this is like 5,000-6,000 here, right? And this is 754. Again, this is an excellent testament to little old lady. If you're going to throw some money into this, just even a test of this low is like a 70-80% drop, right? So be very careful here, guys. Your money, right, might disappear quickly if the market breaks down. If we look at this low, boom, 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 right, we see that these lows have held. So if you're going to trade this, and really I don't know whether that makes sense on a $30,000 coin, considering our little wicks and tails analogy.
Right.
I think
I'd
be inclined that if I like this story, fine, go and risk, 10% of your stake, 5% of your stake, and if it goes off the board, well, it's a tax write-off down the road. If you're going to trade, and Brian, I got to trade, then hopefully you can appreciate that this is the top end of a range, and this is the bottom end of the range. We could technically break this into OTEs, and so if you're going to buy, look and go shopping, gee whiz, look where price is right now, right, and where our OTE is. So if you're trader, then yeah, maybe you can take a shot here and risk against these lows. But understand, this is altcoins, $36,000 market cap. This could very easily spike down here just to try and wash out any weak hands and jackknife right back up.
Right.
So margin, like Polo now lets you trade on margin these things, right?
Yep.
I might be a little bit leery about margin trading this kind of thing with such a small market cap. Having said that, I don't really mind. And, I put on, this is another tool that we teach in this course called GAN angles. And this 8-to-1, this purple line that you see are the 8-to-1 angles. And they often say in GAN angle land, those people that like to use GAN angles, that your best trade setups often come on tests of the 8-to-1. So you can see how it initially tested here and ratcheted away. Nice little trade there. Probably could get you some free coins. We're now coming down and flirting with losing this 8-to-1. If we do, then odds are we got to head back down into here. So if you are margin trading, just be very, very careful with this, okay? I don't mind little nibbles at OTE with the idea that we're going to risk against these lows. And as I said before, if we do break these lows, then this simply becomes a tax write-off. Okay, how are we doing on time?
I think we're good. We have 2 more, so let's keep it moving. I guess let's go on to MaxCoin. Just a quick 2-second blurb about that. You know, Rob and I have the old MaxCoin. Rob and I have pretty extensive experience with it. If you know people are familiar with it, MaxCoin was launched by Max Kaiser, who's on RT, which is Russian financial news.
Oh, that's him?
Yeah, he's behind this.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
And they initially launched on MCX Now, which actually was an exchange Rob and I were pretty fond of back in the day, back when we were doing our mining and whatnot. So
till it went south.
Yeah, right, exactly. But
William mined one of the first Max coins all by himself on his GPU.
Yeah, I got one of the first
whole
blocks, and then I'm sorry, it originally was launched on Coinigy, and it was just a massive sell-off. Coinigy basically collapsed under the pressure. I couldn't get any sell orders out. It was very disappointing. So MaxCoin, you let me know.
Isn't that interesting? So, you know, hopefully you guys can understand that if you have a coin that's associated with some sort of media person, that by definition, right, I wouldn't be surprised if he, you know, knew that this was going to come. And, you know, the interesting thing is, like, there you are. You see that mess? Look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
that's me in the red right there.
Yeah, and so that's the thing. Hopefully you understand, right? This is the public right here. As it gets down into this area, the public has lost complete interest in this thing, right? Mm-hmm. But what did we say about magic fibs, right? I mean, technically speaking, there is a perfectly realistic opportunity for prices to revisit these levels. Mm-hmm. It's not out of the question. And so the question you have to ask yourself is, number one, are you here to make money? If you are here to make money from trading, you know, you have to respect the fact that this is, you know, in the course we type out this one line in my introduction. The question really is, how do you read this? And there is no wrong way to read this. So, Rob, what do you see when you actually, what do you read when you see those letters?
I see opportunity is nowhere.
All right. Now, can you understand? That's a perfectly
I saw now here, by the way.
That's a perfectly valid.
You already saw this.
The tracks, Rob.
So hopefully you can understand there's two ways to look at the world, right? You can look at it as, and don't get me wrong, they are both perfectly valid ways of looking at the world. But can you understand, let me just pop this on here, is that both of these are correct, right? It's just really a question of what's your perspective on the world.
I'm always a cynic, Brian.
Well, and you know what? That's perfectly fine. I mean, life's a brutal place, right? And historically, when it comes to us humans in survival, quite often actually serves our human best interest to be cynical, to be skeptical, right? So don't lose that. But the point here is what I do in my courses is I try to rewire people and get them to not be involved here, but to seriously consider being involved down here.
So Brian, what do you think about the future of MaxCoin? I mean, I'm seeing.
All right, so
as far as the FIB, it's obviously not an OTE yet, based on that.
It's not a short, is it? All right, so very simply put, off the higher time frames, this to me says that there is potential here. Okay. Now, if we go down to the lower time frames, right, we're not going to look at that huge image.
Market cap of $1 million US, by the way. So
well, that's
relatively
better
big.
than 33,000, right? How many coins are out there?
Significantly. I'm not sure, but.
All right. So can you guys see this was the last most significant rally, right?
41 million available. Sorry to keep
41 million. That's not terrible. So this was the last significant range here, right? Do you see that? That was the spike before that insanity, right? So hopefully you guys can see, and really I would be looking at this from this perspective right now. Hopefully you guys can see if we do our optimal trade entry reload zone principle, that a rally into this box, let's make that red, right, would simply be a revisit of this traffic area here. Do you see that? And you could actually argue the market actually broke down, right, from this low right there. That happens to be a 50% level. Right? But can you see the traffic area? Can you see how this old high is a resistance, right? So that's an old traffic zone that really I don't think is totally out of the question to think about it being tested down the road. And then look at what we have here. 38.2 fib happens to line up perfectly with this period where the coin, I guess, just went dead. Did they maybe delist it? I don't know. But I can easily
BTR had some problems for a while.
Oh, that's this exchange in particular.
Let's go look over their entire platform. So.
All right, here's Bittrex, right? They don't even have that old data.
Yeah, I think they picked it up later.
Let's see, Cryptsy. Does Cryptsy have it? There we go. All right, so
I wonder if we could make MCX live and see that data.
So there is that high on Cryptsy, right? And if we do our magic Fibberoonies, right, going back up, there is the optimal trade entry zone if I was going to short this thing right there. And look where it hit, right? Doink. Can you see that? Good old mountain man level. Look at that. Perfect. See that?
Yep.
So, really, number one, I'm not surprised it stopped where it did. Good old mountain man. He loves to bring bull markets to a grinding halt, right? I might suggest that this is a reload, right? That's just off of this range right here. You can, hopefully you can understand there are a lot of people that bought in this area that listened to Max Kaiser and said, all right, I'll buy your coin here, right? Wherever. It might have been anywhere in here. And now that price has gotten back there, they're just like, just get me the hell out, and I'll never buy another one of these stupid altcoins again.
Right. It blows my mind if anybody's selling at this point has held this long. I mean, this coin had so much hype initially, and they kind of, I guess, as you can see, artificially set the price high too.
We talk about putting bottoms in markets, right? Somebody had to put a bottom in this market here to cause this rally. So can you understand that whale that put the bottom in here, he was embarrassed here and here and here and here and here and here, right?
Right.
And so not a big surprise, price gets into that area and he goes, just get me the hell out of here. All right? So yet another reason why we could see price fail where it did. Now, the point that I'm trying to make here is as traders, if we're hunting M's and W's, hopefully you guys can see that this thing actually put in a pretty wide W down in here, right? Go into the drawing to go to work here. Right, here, here, right. Oh, nice drawing. I don't know why it does that. It works on all of your
these BlackBerry.
Oh, you know why? It's because I got the
magnet at the same time.
All right, there we go. All right, so low, rally peak, sell off, right? So you can see that Max tried to turn his coin in here, right? And we get bullish market structure signal here, right? Can you guys see the W? Down, up, down, breakout, right? Make sense?
Yep.
All right. This low is a little bit lower than this low, but remember, altcoin nonsense, not a big surprise. They were just messing around with the market here, right? Long and short of it, market structure should have had you long from 34.94, and here we are up in your technical target zone. Like a lot of traders.
I want to add in as well. I was just looking at MaxCoin's Twitter, and I forgot to mention this. I guess it looks like Max Kaiser and another guy, Simon Dixon, have started a crypto fund. So kind of a crypto management fund. And they did crowdfunding. Basically, they raised $1.5 million.
Awesome.
Very recently. So I think that kind of can give us a reason for that spike there.
Okay, so can you guys see that if we did nothing more than play the double bottom, remember we just saw this on Bitcoin, right? Exact same thing. In this case, right, bang, you just bought and the market just took off like a rocket. Sometimes they just take off and the trade only lasts like an hour or two, right? It happens. Sometimes the market takes 2 years to get up to this level. You just don't know. But you can see volume came pouring in here, right? You guys can see our W off of the volume indicators, right? Down, up, down, away we go, right? And look at this little battle. Down, up, down, away we go, right? If we look at momentum, same sort of thing. Down, up, down, away we go. And the really tight little W's in here, right? So the interesting thing is just off of the levels that we picked, that was this previous high here, 50% retracement of that, if you risked against this W, sets up a 3.87 risk-reward trade. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
That's a damn good trade, isn't it? 3.87 risk-reward. I take that trade every day.
And this market has some legs, it's got some volume in it.
Right. Now, I might argue that, we've had the news, right? The news has happened, right? There may be a continuation pattern here, but this 4-to-1 risk-reward, it's gone, right? Right now, if you bought here, we're getting into sort of margin leverage trading kind of crap. If you're going to risk, believe it or not, the bottom of the formation is all the way down here. And if you don't believe that they'll take the market right back down to this bottom, look at Altcoin. They did exactly the same thing here recently. You see the double bottom down here, Will? Right? Do you see the W? Down, up, down, breakout. You guys with me?
We're with you, Brian.
Right? Monster rally, and look where they brought the market right back to. You see that?
Right back to that level.
No coincidence. So, the point that I would just simply make about Max is the market's telling you where the floor is. Here's the floor. If you're going to play here, you have to be able to risk back down to the floor. Does that make sense?
Yep.
I mean, really, at this point, you should be on free coins and just slowly spoon-feeding coins every time this thing doubles.
So do you kind of think that short level is accurate based on, not the initial starting price, basically? Not the ICO
Shorting
price.
Level? I don't understand.
Well, the OTE.
This levels that we drew here was just based purely off of where was the old?
I mean,
just this high
here. Using that middle high, the the high, not the initial ICO high, basically.
Well, no, we're not even remotely considering this.
Okay.
Right? We're just talking about this double bottom here and the price action after the coin melted down, right?
Okay.
Ideally, I mean, we could do these, and your Coinigy thing here keeps changing on me. I drew the fib off of this high here. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Right there. We could draw this fib off of this high here. You see that?
Right. Yeah, that's kind of just what I was wondering about, as far as
right now that
which high to look at.
That actually suggests, there's off of that high, there's a 50% level. We might, actually have gone off of that level. This is getting a bit greedy, though. Can you understand? Right? I mean, look how tight this bottom is here. You can't even see the risk profile. Really, my preference would be, let's keep the fibs and the studies and the targets to get you free coins as clean and as simple as possible. And again, I kind of like this high here. And we painted a resistance point in here, which is nothing more than a test of this high here. And that's kind of what I think happened. So at this point, like I said, you're on free coins and you're tickety-boo, right? When I posted the chart, for this gentleman, I love this mark right here. Can you see the double bottom and momentum right here? Mm-hmm. And the volume turn, the little W. And this was a bullish momentum divergence. And I love this thing right in here. But the trade's over now, right? You should be on free coins and just slowly spoon-feeding coins out to the market every time it doubles.
Okay. Great analysis. Appreciate it. I think we need to move forward.
Yeah, that was awesome. If somebody told me about this max coin 2 months ago, I would have maybe have been watching it a little closer.
Mm-hmm.
But this is very typical of the market, right?
So, hey, Brian, we have Franco coin coming up next. We're running a little.
All right, I'm talking way too much, aren't I? I'm sorry.
This is the buzzer.
Okay. So
beep, beep.
FRK.
Ding, ding.
Go ahead.
Nothing. FRK. Franco coin.
All right.
Another one that's only traded on Cryptsy, it looks like.
That's
so
a bit
Franco
of a
coin,
danger.
just a little bit about it. I mean, from the face of their website, they claim to be basically an autonomous corporation, or they're working towards that. So I don't necessarily know what the corporation does. It doesn't exactly say. I don't know.
This doesn't look like it's been getting the greatest feedback in general.
No? Are you looking at the end thread? Or?
Yeah, it just doesn't necessarily look like they're introducing anything new or different.
Yeah, they say autonomous corporation, and then I don't see anything else. So.
All right. So what's so first and foremost, sounds to me like they need to put together a PR team, eh?
Right. Well, their website looks nice.
All right. So this is that opportunity is now here kind of idea. Can you understand that this was very risky, right? All of this, as the market's continuously making lower highs and lower lows, you just don't know where the bottom is. Technically speaking, I do like when we have this kind of base. Can you see that, whoever it was involved in here, they're probably gone by now, eh?
Mm-hmm. I can say, too, I mean, that chart looks very similar to many, many other charts that I've seen you post, Brian, right before it takes off a little bit.
Yeah, so, this is kind of opportunity might be here, right? I'd be curious as to what's going on here, because money slowly is coming back to this story, right? So something is going on here, right? And if we look at volume impetus, we just measure the size of the green and red candles of the volume nodes. A little bit concerning. I didn't like the fact that this node was 14,800 and this was 15,000. So the bulls are kind of running out of steam here a little bit. And if
Market cap of 29,000, by the way, so it's another small.
The market cap is really small, eh?
Mm-hmm. Yep, smallest one we've done tonight.
All right, so hopefully you guys can see. Again, this is maybe little old lady kind of idea. We'll throw a bit of money at this and just see where it takes us. I would be happy, if we were going to do things like maybe hunt OTEs to throw in stink bids. So maybe we might have thrown a stink bid if we got maybe a nice little W or something coming out of here. And you notice down, up, 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 down, up. So it started making higher highs and higher lows here. And this has been a pretty respectable little bull run, right? Basically there are the lows. There's good old altcoin FU. They just wanted to see if they could wash out any weak hands, right? Put in the W, and now starting, what we call this in the market? This is called climbing the wall of worry, right? Where all along here, all along this rally, people are going to be constantly throwing you reasons why this coin is no good. Right? And yet the coin just keeps moving higher and higher and higher. I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but we had one recently in our group that sort of was doing the same thing, this IOC, where basically all it's doing here is just climbing the wall of worry, right? Here's the old wall, right? And it's climbing that wall.
I wonder what social sentiment in general on Twitter was like during that time. I mean, mostly negative is my guess.
I would imagine on this one in particular, I think that they've basically washed out the public interesting, and I thought it was interesting that Rob said there, these guys, they don't have a very good reputation. Basically, nobody's really interested in them, right? That's, ironically enough, the makings of a bottom. Can you understand how that's the makings of a bottom? All right, when people have just lost complete interest. So, if you were trading this, remember, like $26,000 market cap, right? I mean, obviously, we're not betting the farm here. I don't like the fact... Oh, actually, it's on 2 exchanges here. Did you say it was just on 1? Oh, no, that's the IOC. I beg your pardon. What's
the FRK.
Yeah, FRK, I don't like the fact that it's only on 1 exchange. That's a bit bothersome, right? And so, as a result, I would be a bit leery.
I noticed too. I mean, a lot of these smaller market cap coins are not on Bittrex, and I know Bittrex has been kind of taking the legal implications very seriously in terms of making sure, if the coin is crowdfunding, they have to be filed with the SEC, etc.
All right.
So I mean, that kind of almost has an implication saying, well, does Franco Coin meet that criteria, or are they going to attempt it or not?
Yeah, you could use Bitterex as kind of like your vetting.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought that was interesting. I kind of read an article about them, or I can't remember where I saw it, but interesting stuff.
And Bitterex constantly goes through the low volume delisting warning stuff, right? I mean, I've got probably about 3 or 4 of them that I'm actually working bids on, because we actually consider that to be a little bit of a trap. And here's a great example. I had this this coin duck note that I bought way back when, and through here, low volume warning, and Bitterex delisted them. Now, did that mean that the coin was dead? You tell me, right? So just because Bitterex delists them doesn't necessarily mean that the trade is over. But the point here we have to make is, what happens if this FRK gets into trouble on Cripsy? What do you do then? right? And that you don't really have a full.
Then you go down to the street corner and you find your buddy with the other FFA wallet.
Okay, so the point here is, I don't mind little old lady taking a shot on this one just to see where the heck it can go, whether we can get some free coins. And then once you're in the free coin position, who cares what the hell happens? If it goes off the board, it's it's no skin off your back. So if I was going to be thinking about targeting an area to get in, I would be seriously watching this area right here. Right? And what a coincidence, that just so happens to be our line in the sand is right off the original double bottom. So anybody who is interested in picking up some of this, keep in mind really low cap, really dangerous that it's only listed on one exchange. But if you were interested, this 10,955 area, I would be watching like a hawk right now. I do like the fact that market structure-wise, we do have a W here, right? What happens when I change this to a line chart? You see the W?
Yep.
So market structure, we do have a positive backdrop. And like we said, little old lady taking a shot on this thing, not such a bad idea. You might just be handed a 10-bagger, 20-bagger. In fact, we have a double bottom and then another double bottom. So technically speaking, we have actually a trending market here. Go figure. All right, so I hope I did the justice.
Fantastic as usual, Brian.
Yeah. All right, cool.
I think we're going to have to move along here. We have a giveaway to do.
That's right.
Yeah, so let me just show it to the camera.
So should I'll just go on mute, or what do you want me to do here?
No, you can stick around. It's only going to take a minute here. We're giving away some of these Coinigy USB drives. I don't know if you can see it on the screen or not. 8 gigabytes. So anybody who... Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
I can hear you, yeah.
I think I hit mute on accident. So we're giving away these Coinigy 8 gigabyte USB drives. Look at that. How cool is that?
Sweet.
So anybody who retweeted the Twitter post we made earlier today has an entry, and I'm going to share my screen to prove that this is totally random.
Are you? Are we in the drawing too, or are people associated with the company not eligible?
We haven't.
You and your friends and family are not eligible, Brian.
Oh,
we haven't talked to our lawyers yet, but Brian, I think you're safe if you just buy one.
Oh, okay, fine.
I'm just kidding. No, we'll hook you guys up, Brian. Don't worry.
I'm just playing.
So I have everybody's Twitter handle in here that retweeted, and we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna take the top five. So we'll go ahead and randomize this.
Ooh, drum roll.
Ooh. All right. So in no particular order, but the top five, we have Charlie Q 142. All Crypto Coins, Unit 731 TK, Cryptographer with a K, and Indie Bitcoin.
Woo!
Thank you, everyone, for having non-offensive Twitter handles, so I could actually read them.
Congratulations!
So I'm going to tweet this out. What you guys need to do: tweet at Coinigy. We'll tweet at you first. Just make sure we can follow you and you follow us, so we can DM and we'll work it out. So thanks everybody for participating.
Way to go!
Congratulations!
Congrats! So,
and also, hey, have you got a screenshot of those T-shirts? I heard somebody talking about it. Their Coinigy T-shirts.
There's one hanging on the wall there behind William.
Behind me.
Is there?
I
see.
can go grab it for you.
Well, I mean, I mean, it's up to you. I just heard talk about that, and I was curious.
They're pretty snappy, I'll tell you.
Pretty snazzy. Yeah. So, well, those people who supported us during our pre-sale got a T-shirt and some other goodies. So
awesome.
We're looking to place an order for some more, so we can actually get some out. We're kind of stuck with odd sizes right now. What was that?
Bag.
we're stuck holding the bag. Is that what you said?
Oh no, that's your swag. Your swag.
Yeah,
that's our swag. Yeah,
That's
exactly.
Holding the bag. Silly.
So, yeah, I mean, I think we can kind of wrap it up. We're going almost on 2 hours here.
I'm sorry. Everybody watching this show, it's entirely my fault. I talk way too much. I'm really sorry.
Brian, it's worth every penny. I tell you.
Well, I hope
Every
you get
minute,
value
too.
out of my input.
Yeah. So yeah, once again, make sure to follow us on Twitter at Coinigy. Check out Coinigy.com.
And therationalinvestor.co.
That's right, we're .co.
Yeah,
yeah, Julian had to take off earlier tonight, so I'll say goodnight from him. Thank you very much, Julian, for filling in for the news desk. Hopefully JC will be back next week. And it's always a pleasure from my end to work with you, two real professionals here in the altcoin space. Rob and Will are total top-notch guys. I highly recommend them for your consideration if you're watching this video. And just feedback,
Thanks,
I made reference to some of those other.
Right back at you.
I made reference to some of those other people on my Twitter feed that I follow, and those guys are all hardcore altcoin investors, miners, traders, and they all fully love Coinigy. So you guys are top drawer in my eyes.
Thanks a lot. And we're
Excellent.
working hard as we can every day.
Try to keep
the
ourselves
question
out
is,
there.
how do I get Will to come to class?
You have to pull him away from the development console.
We can ask the community, and would they rather have me take the class or build new features? And we can put it to a public forum. But yes.
Those same features you love so much, Brian.
All right.
Okay. Well, thanks again, Brian. Appreciate all your time.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah. And thanks everybody for joining us, obviously, tonight as well.
Yep. And, I guess we can. I can try to play this outro video, but man, I'm gonna just completely fail again.
All right, so Will's gonna take us out with the groovy music.
Yep, hopefully soon once I find it.
Everybody's just waiting to hear the music. They can't leave.
People are just
they can't leave their computer without hearing the music.
We're gonna keep you guys on for 10 more minutes.
Yeah.
I seriously can't find it, by the way.
Will's scrambling. Okay, let's go.
All right, got it.
Okay, guys. Well, until next time, thank you very much for your time, and have a great week. And good luck in trading, everybody. Pop by therationalinvestor.co and say hello sometime.